Hey, Allie Duzett here, and we are doing the Q&A for the self-sabotage session. Okay, and what I had just been saying was that, we're going to want to come back to this and keep working through this. And we're going to also just keep an eye on our limits, because here's one of the things that you need to know is that every day your parameters can change. Okay, not to say that they will change, but just that it is a possibility. Okay, if you go through a trauma, if something comes up in a relationship, your parameters can shift. Okay, and so if you find yourself, you say, oh, I just raised my money threshold from $0 to $100, hooray. And then, if you don't see a shift, like usually pretty quick, like usually within the month for sure, sometimes even within the same day, but not always. So don't bank on it. But like a lot of times what happens is when you raise that lower threshold, it's especially noticeable for money because you can measure it with numbers and it shows up in accounts and stuff. When you raise the lower threshold for your money, a lot of times you'll find that you naturally attract situations into your life where you're going to be earning more money or just receiving more money until you hit that bottom threshold. So what happens when things, I don't know, something happens and then you go well below that and don't go back up, then it's time to go back through and dig deeper. What is the new thing that was triggered that's keeping me from having my lower threshold at this amount, if that makes sense? So this is something that you can work on every day. For people that do sales, like especially if you in your business do like high ticket sales, where like sales calls, where you're trying to get on the phone with people and like sell them a big whole package of lots of stuff for lots of money. Checking in on your own emotional self-sabotage threshold with money every time before every single call, I would recommend that. I really would. When you have important stuff that's going on in your life, checking in on your self-sabotage threshold with that exact specific issue is going to be helpful every single time. So I do recommend that. And as you practice just tuning in with yourself and asking, these questions, am I going to self-sabotage here? How good am I willing to let this be? How good would be comfortable for me? Would I be more comfortable if this failed? We're going to ask ourselves these questions and start working through our answers so that we're comfortable with things being really, really good for us. The fact is that most people are not comfortable with things being really good for them. If things get too good, that's when they start panicking and freaking out and making things be bad. You can see this a lot with like romantic vacations with spouses, where they'll go out and have almost a great time, and just as you're feeling so lovey-dovey, then the thing happens and fighting, bickering, triggers go off, and it's because on some level one or both people is just not comfortable with things being good. And so we just gotta work through it. A good example of this, my husband and I watched the movie A Castle for Christmas on Netflix a few days ago. It is so ridiculous, but I did enjoy it. That is the secret fact. I did enjoy it. I'll probably watch it again, in fact. But you can see that movie, the guy in particular has like, you can see exactly where his self-sabotage threshold is. Just when they're about to be really happy, then he loses his mind and he's like making all these accusations and saying all this mean stuff. And I was like, oh, it's the self-sabotage threshold. Like, can I be that happy? No, I can't. So I'm gonna just be mean to the people that I care about, and I'm just gonna be a big jerk and ruin my own happiness, so it's all my fault and I get what I deserve. It's all about, are we getting what we deserve, right? And if we feel like we're not getting what we deserve, then we can throw ourselves off into a mess. Okay, here's some questions. All of my numbers on the scale went up a lot, testing through muscle testing. And I'm wondering if that is really true, if my muscle testing is off. I guess it's a too good to be true feeling. I'm happy they all went up and I want that. I'm just wondering if I'm being extra enthusiastic. I'm getting that they did all go up, but if you do have that too good to be true feeling, I think that can drag it back down. Does that make sense? So let's think of what are we going to tap about too good to be true. Let's tap on, let me pull this up. What would it feel like if my positive gains were absolutely true, even though they are good? What would it feel like if my positive gains were absolutely true, even though they are good? What if I gave myself permission to have vastly improved, lower self-sabotage thresholds and allowed myself to be happy? We'll just throw those questions out. What if it wasn't too good to be true? What if it was just right? What if it can be that easy? What if it can be that easy? What if it can be as good as advertised? What if it could be simple and graceful? What if these positive shifts could just fall into my lap? What if I easily experienced these shifts in my behavior and perceptions? What if I started seeing the world in a whole new, more positive way today? What if I started seeing the world in a whole new, more positive way today? What if good things came easily to me? What if I allowed them to? What if I allowed myself to experience how easily I can shift my own self-sabotage thresholds? What if it is that easy? What would it feel like if it were that easy? And when I type in, what would it feel like if it were that easy? I'm feeling a huge, huge, huge panic, huge resistance of, I don't want it to be easy. I want it to be hard. I deserve for things to be hard. Can it clear yet? No. What's coming up? Well, we'll tell a symbolic story. It says war in heaven. I'm seeing a stab, like a sword, and feelings of unworthiness, panic, disgust, horror, pain, physical pain, nervous system pain, nervous system overload, brain overload. That is saying, everything has to be hard for me. Nothing can be easy. I have to self-punish forever. I've sworn it. And it says, I swore it in blood. Can it clear now? Yes. Let's rip up that contract that says, I swore it in blood that things would be hard. Release that. Breathe it out. Shift it out. What would it be like if I released that oath that things would be hard for me, that I swore in blood? Releasing that now. Symbolic image. See a person taken off of a battlefield, the one that was stabbed in that symbolic image, and take them to Angel Hospital and see how they get to have their bodies healed and their nervous systems calmed, and how everything is kind of, it gets to be switched and modulated and healed. And we're going to switch the Healy program to the deep cycle, and we're doing clean all. Okay, while this person's in angel hospital, have a light shine down on them that teaches them how to let things be easy. They don't have to choose for things to be easy, but it's just instructions on how. If they ever wanted to, this would be how, okay? What would it feel like if it were that easy? What would it feel like if I could let things be easy? What would it feel like if I could let things be easy? Let's do this a couple more times. What would it feel like if I could let things be easy? What would it feel like if I could let things be easy? What would it feel like if I could let things be easy? What would it feel like if I could let things be easy? Okay. Let's say I am choosing to let things be easy. I am choosing to let my life go more smoothly. I am choosing to have beauty in my everyday. I am choosing to have enough money in my everyday. I do remember somebody else had a question that I didn't get to. Well, let's just ask. Are money, order, and weight connected? They are the ones that shifted more slowly than the other categories, and they all together form the same lower number, and they all together from the same lower number to a same slightly higher number. It makes me wonder if there's something there. I would say that, yeah, they probably are, but it's for you. I don't know that they're related for everybody, but they may be for you. So what you can do is see if you can imagine those things with their roots tied together, like the word money having roots and order having roots and weight having roots. And if all the roots are together, let's just untangle it and have every single thing go down its own self into the dirt. Does that make sense? I'm just manually doing it I'm just doing it for everybody, and you should also do it for yourself, but I'm just trying to double check that everybody's is separated. Everybody's things can be separated. And here's an easy question to answer. I have a really high weight threshold. Is it better to put the upper limit where I want it right away, or is it better to lower it in increments? My opinion is to lower it in increments. If you do it, if you try and solve all your problems too fast, your body can't handle it. Your body will panic and freak out. I mean, like, maybe not, but basically, yeah, that's been how it is. I will say things are changing. The world is changing. I think the entire earth is raising in vibration, which is what is causing a lot of people's problems because their vibration isn't high enough to match it. But because the earth is raising in vibration, if you are also raising in vibration, you can clear stuff much faster now. And it's only going to get faster. I think it's going to get really fast, really soon. And it already is so much faster than it was 5 years ago. But in the meantime, my vote is to lower weight in particular in increments, because this is like a 100% physical body related issue, right? And so if you try and lower it from like say your top is at like 350 pounds and now, but you really want to weigh 120, like, whoa, that's like quite like, so say you're going to lower that threshold down to 150, that's still like 200 pounds that your body's going to be like, whoa, and lose its mind. So I definitely would recommend setting it in a smaller increment. Okay, I still feel there are curses in place. Some are from others, some hidden, and I think I'm cursing myself. Maybe even time loops for the curses. Am I right or being dramatic? Let's go with that. You're right. So let's go ahead and let's tune into all of this. The first thing we're going to do, everybody take out your little scissors, and we're going to snip our time loops. You can imagine them like figure eights, and just ask to pull up all of the time loop curses relating to self-sabotage and just snip through them. And you might have a bunch. You might need like a little Archangel Michael with giant shears action to show up, but just, it's all in your mind. You just imagine what it takes. If you can snip them with little scissors, if you need giant shears, let's snip through all of those time loops and have an angel come vacuum them out like spaghetti, slurping them out of your space and putting them up in the evidence room in the sky. And let's bring everything into the present. Anything that there was a time loop to, bring it to the present. curses. Somebody says, I feel like I have sabotage from the pre-existence. Is this correct? Yes. And I'll just give you a heads up. Literally everyone has self-sabotage from the pre-existence. That's why we're here, because if we didn't self-sabotage, we would be perfect. That's my opinion. If you're not perfect, you have some self-sabotage going on. So yes, you do. And you did. All people do and have and did. So yes, let's see. And so again, are we going to clear all of our issues today? No, we're going to come back and keep working through it. You're going to work on it as you drive your car. You're going to work on it in the line at the grocery store. This is what I do every day. I'm going to the grocery store. I'm standing in line. I'm like, okay, what self-sabotage do I need to clear today? Okay. My time loops are going on like the mirrors in the temple eternity. So bouncing off each other. Can you access the original time loop? See if you can have angels remove the mirrors and just show you to the original loop and just snip it and pull it out. See if you can do that. Okay. I'm seeing if I can smoosh all of everybody's curses into one big yucky pile. And I think we're going to take it to what we can call a court of atonement. So nope, you can't see it. See if an angel can pour a little thing on your invisible time loops that will make them visible. Does that work? No. Ask if it's real. Ask if it's real, because it's possible that it's just an illusion. Is this real or an illusion? And so I'm trying to scoop up all of these curses into one space. And I think we can hopefully do it all at once, but I'm seeing a big courtroom, and you can see who you want to see there, I guess. For me, I'm seeing Jesus. You can imagine an angel in this courtroom and just saying, this has already been litigated in your favor. None of these are valid anymore. Oh, I love that. A class action lawsuit. I love that. Thank you. Yes, it's a class action. That's right. And I'm just seeing Jesus with a big old sword, and he just slices right through all of those curses like the Gordian knot. The Gordian knot comes from Greek mythology, where there was this knot that was so complicated that nobody could untie it. But if they could untie it, then the legend was that they would become the ruler of all the land and have all of the good stuff for them. And Alexander the Great came forward to try his hand at the Gordian knot. Lots of people had done it and they couldn't undo it. But he just took his sword and just cut the knot in half. Alexander the Great cut the knot in half, the Gordian knot, and that's how he solved the Gordian knot. And sure enough, he did become like the greatest emperor, right? He conquered vast swaths of land. So we're going to just have Jesus or the angels come and just cut open that Gordian knot of all those curses and just remove them and breathe them out. Watch them turn into dust and breathe it out. Okay. I'm seeing a thumbs up on that. And I'm seeing that there's still more work to be done, that we cleared a whole bunch of stuff right now, but it looks like there's just like a little goo under the surface. But again, we're not going to do everything at once today. You're going to come back and keep doing this, and you can work on this. Like, you know, these images, you can practice going back through them in the future. And it can be easy. It really can. It doesn't have to be hard. You know, I very literally do this while I'm driving around, when I'm in the line, I'm like at the grocery store, like reading labels and like picking what I want. And then I'm like, okay, what needs to clear? Which might sound like a lot, but I don't know. That's just how I think. I just have to always do it. I just do it. but it can fit into your life, into the little nooks and crannies when you're doing other stuff, if this is something that's important to you. And the other thing is that you can ask yourself questions and your brain is going to call to you the answers. Okay, so you can ask yourself. So we had our person here who had their time loops going back and forth and they couldn't get to the bottom of it. What I'm going to challenge you to do, if you can't get to the bottom of it, you're just going to say, you know, what if I could get to the bottom of it? Like, what if I could know what is this time loop? What if I could know what's going on? You know, what if I just knew one day, like exactly the root problem and how to fix it? And we can just ask, what if, and you'll see for yourself how in the coming hours, days, weeks, you'll just get the answer. And it's so crazy, but brains do work like that. How do you clear being around a curse or sabotage that someone around you is holding on to and affecting you? Okay, when your sabotage issues are like, okay, so back up for anybody that's like, curses, what the heck? What that means is targeted negative energy. Okay, it just means somebody is targeting you with negative energy. Okay, and so it's like a slang term. It doesn't have to be like a weird occult thing. It doesn't have to. It's just like curse words, like you say the bad words and you're cursing, it's a negative energy. It's just targeted negative energy. That's all that it is. So we don't have to be weirdos about it. It's just targeted negative energy. And all of us have cursed other people. Guaranteed you have done it. Okay. Every time that you have thought mean thoughts to other people or about other people, you have been cursing them. Every time that you think about another person and you think unkind things, you are sending a little direct energy weapon right at their space. Okay, you are sending negative vibes right to them that can affect them. Okay, this is one reason why it's so important to be a good person and to not even think those bad things. Okay, we have to change our hearts and stop. It's not just about not saying bad stuff. It's also about not even thinking it. Okay, we want to have everybody in our lives have, a positive experience. And the more positivity we put out into the world, the more positivity we get back, because people can sense the negative energy that everyone else sends them. And that's why there's probably people in your life where you just feel judged near them, even if they haven't said anything about it, even if they don't be open about how they feel about you, you just get that vibe. Yeah, because you're getting that vibe. But are you giving that vibe to somebody else? Are there other people in your life that you are thinking unkind stuff about and it's affecting them too, just the way that you get affected? So here's the deal. When it comes to being around a curse or sabotage that someone around you is holding on to and affecting you that way, you have to opt out. This is where boundaries come in, okay? This is when you need better boundaries, because the real issue is not that other people are sending you negative energy. Guess what? People send each other negative energy all the time. You can't stop it. People send me negative energy all the time. People send you a negative energy all the time. The issue is boundaries, okay? When we have strong boundaries, that's when we opt out of the system and we say, you know what? Yeah, you're going to send negative energy to me and I don't accept it. Like, I'm not going to take that in. I'm not going to take that on. I'm not going to be affected by your curses of your directed negative energy. I'm just not going to. I'm opting out. So again, I have my boundaries book is a good one to start with. And there's like a free boundaries session, but I should do like an intense hardcore one at some point. The free boundaries session is in the free offerings at allieduzettclasses.com. But here's the real thing. Why do people have boundary problems in the first place, right? Why? The real issue isn't that other people are sending negative energy to you, because people do that. The real issue is why do you allow that to affect you? Okay, and that kind of comes back to the whole purpose of this whole session, because a lot of it is self-punishment. A lot of it is unwillingness to accept the good things, like it just comes back to being willing to take on their blame. Like, yes, I deserve to be blamed, blame me. Like, we got to get rid of that, And so when it comes down to that stuff, the exercise that I will assign to you is to make a list of what curses or sabotage that you feel you're getting from other people. then you're going to, you know what, let me write it down because I want a record of it. Number one, write down a list of the negative energy that's sabotaging you from other people. Step two is going to be write down why you accept it. Why do you accept it? Why do you let that affect you? And I want you to dig deep. I want you to dig 5 layers deep. So what that means is, so well, I accept it because I feel like I deserve to be blamed for their problems. Well, why do you deserve to be blamed? Well, I deserve to be blamed because you know, years ago, I was really mean to that person and I never really made it right with them. So they do deserve to blame me. Well, why did I, you know, why do they deserve to blame me just because I didn't fix things with them before? Well, because I'm really a bad person at heart, because a good person wouldn't have done what I did. Okay, so why is that the problem? Well, you know, and so you kind of dig deeper until you get to like the ultimate fundamental level. Maybe it won't be 5 layers, maybe it will be more than 5 layers, but dig deep, and 5 is a good level where you're going to get pretty deep. But yeah, how do we fix this? It's going to come down to boundaries, but how do we fix our boundaries? We have to be willing to enforce new boundaries. So we have to figure out why we're accepting the negative energy, get to the bottom of that and resolve it, and then put in the new boundary, right? So can we work on one pre-existent sabotage so I can see how we clear it? Yeah, we actually already did. That was the symbolic story of the war in heaven. So you already saw it. What you can do is ask your brain to tell you a story and clear it. That's what I would say to do. Really, intention is everything. So if you can just say like, you know, show me the pre-existence issue I need to clear and help me clear it, I think your brain would be willing to do that. So, so you can start doing that. Now, one thing that I will recommend is, geez, I used to do this a lot. I haven't done this in years, actually. I haven't even thought about this in years. So let me remember my thought, because it's been so long since I've done it. But what I would do in the past was I would say, okay, I have this problem. How many little contributors do I have to this problem? You know, and so then you can like muscle test, ask your body, you know, I have 1,000 little contributors to this problem. So I'd write down 1,000. So you ask how many contributors to the problem. And then you get your number, and then you can just ask, you know, what are some things I should know about these contributors? What do these contributors want me to know? These contributors, by the way, are not people. These are things, these are energies, these are ideas, these are concepts, belief programs, emotions, unresolved trauma. So a contributor to a problem, so say like weight. So I say, how many contributors to my weight problem? I weigh 100 pounds. Oh, I'm 100 pounds overweight. How many contributors do I have to that? And it'll say like, I don't know, 1,000, whatever. That's just the number that, anyway. And so what you can do is break it down and say, you know, well, how many of those are emotions? How many of those are trapped trauma? Like how much of that is beliefs? How much of that is like a physical, strictly physical thing like overeating or whatever? Like how much of this is strictly physical? How much of this is emotional? And what kind of category does it fall under? And then we ask, you know, what do they want us to know? Okay. And what might they want you to know? They might want you to know that you're not good enough. Or they might want you to know that they're really sad that nobody comforted them that time that was really hard for them, or whatever. And you're just going to open up the way to receive information. And as that information shows up, you can just tap and breathe it out and acknowledge that it exists. You're just listening to the message and breathing it out. Listen to the message and breathe it out. And then let's see, listen to the message, breathe it out. Number 4 would be release in bulk, where you just say, I'm now releasing everything that can go. Now that I listened to the message, and sometimes a lot will go at once. Sometimes you can clear 100 things at once, which is great. And sometimes you can only clear one. Sometimes it takes a long time. So I've had experiences with this, and then I just do it again, because here's the thing. Release in bulk, 5, reassess, and then you just start from the top again and just keep going until you work them all out. Some things like this I've been able to clear really fast, and sometimes it can take months as I just do one little thing at a time. The trick is to just never get overwhelmed, because there's nothing to be overwhelmed about. We all have exactly the right amount of time. We have enough time for this. So you just work a little bit every day. It's like eating the elephant, right? You just have to take a bite every day. And so we just take one little bite. You just decide, when I'm in line at the grocery store, I'm going to do this one time. I'm just going to listen. I'm just going to say, body, what is one message you want me to have about my problem today? And you're just going to listen to it and say, thank you, body, for telling me, and breathe it out. And it might take you some months. It might take a long time, but the trick is that we just do it every day. We just work on it as we go so that we can get the job done. Okay, any questions? I feel like everybody's numbers are like a little bit in flux. They look a little bit in shock to me. They're like, ah, we just shifted. Ah. So, okay. As we keep going throughout the next, hours, days, weeks, first off, remember to stay really well hydrated. Okay. Keep tuning in with yourself as you're going through your day. Just try to be a little bit more conscious. Okay. All of us go into our subconscious all of the time. That's how we drive. Like when you go drive somewhere and you suddenly realize that you don't remember the last stoplight, but you're clearly alive. So you probably stopped at it and like followed the traffic instructions, right? Everybody does this. Everybody's brains go on autopilot, and our brains go on autopilot quite a bit. And for most people, we kind of live in autopilot. And that's the trick of life, is making our subconscious conscious. We're taking the stuff that's behind the curtain and bringing it forward so that we can deal with it. That is the goal. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing in this kind of work. We're just taking the stuff from behind the curtain and taking it forward so that we can address it and start to shift it. And it's this lifelong journey. You know that you're not done if you're still alive, right? If you are still alive, then you still have more work to do, right? But it's okay, because we have enough time to do it all. Okay. I'm going to let us all go in just a minute. Somebody says, I got a headache right away when the Healy pain session ended. Clear yet? No. What I'm hearing for my headache friend is, I want to be in pain. Okay. And so I am getting that I cannot fix it for you. I am getting that you are going to have to dig into your own heart and find the answer to why you want to be in pain. Why does part of you feel like it deserves pain? When I tune into it, it just feels like a little girl having a temper tantrum, being like, I have to do it myself. Ah! And she says, I have to hurt myself. Why? Self-punishment. And she says it's deeper than anybody could dig. Can it clear yet? No. I heard my soul is death. And now I'm seeing an abyss, like a very deep well. And at the very bottom of it, it's very gross and yucky, but I'm seeing angels come and fill in the bottom of the well so that it comes up, like they fill it in from the bottom and push it up. So we're pushing up the depth of that well up to the surface. And as it does that, darkness from the well spreads out, and just have angels come and vacuum all of that darkness up to the evidence room in the sky. And at the bottom, there's something to deal with. And I think that you can deal with it. Well, ask yourself, like, do you have a sense of what it is? No clue? For me, it looks invisible. Because I'm crying. Good, good, good. Get it out. I mean, I wonder if that could have resolved it and you just have to cry it out until it's gone. But it looks like there's nothing there, but there is something there. Invisible. Let's try and make it visible. Seeing a person with a cloak on. A part of yourself that says, I want to torture you. And it can clear now. Let's take that part that wants to torture you off to Angel Hospital, and they're going to take off its creepy clothes and take away its weapons, and just let it cry. Because it says, well, I thought I had to torture myself. I thought that's how I could be a better person, because I'm not a good person. If I hurt myself, God can't hurt me for me. If I torture myself first, no one else can hurt me worse than I've already hurt myself. Fear. I'm so afraid of not torturing myself. I'm so afraid of not being in pain. My heart is broken. Sometimes I hurt less if I hurt myself more. Okay, symbolic image, before a war, and somebody just saying, it's all your fault, it's all your fault, and it feels like a stab in the heart, and like, oh my gosh, it is my fault. I have to self-punish forever. Can it clear now? Yes. Releasing that. Let's upgrade all of our systems. Everybody, let's upgrade all of our systems to know how to live without needing to self-punish, especially from pre-Earth events. I know how to live without needing to self-punish from pre-Earth events. And if anybody that feels like they have a part of themselves that tortures themselves, go take it to Angel Hospital and let the angels go and give that piece a massage and help them to feel better, and download to them how to live without torture, how to live without torturing you. And let's snip any cords between the torture part and your main self so that it's not going to be able to torture you anymore. Let's grow it up to your current age, wash out its old trauma, teach it how on a cellular level to be loving and kind, and give it the new job of nurturing, the opposite of torture. Okay, instead of torture, we're going to proactively give so much nurturing and love to ourselves. We don't have to torture ourselves. We can heal and love ourselves. And we'll just put in instructions that only when this piece is ready to be only kind and loving, and when it has God's divine perspective on how to be nurturing for you, then it can reintegrate, and it has the instructions to do that. Don't worry about all the specifics of that. Just tap it in and just assume it's going to work out. It's going to work out. It might take up to 6 to 8 weeks. So you may feel different right away. It may take you 2 months. You can put an alarm in your phone to go off in 2 months and reassess. How am I looking on my self-sabotage front? Okay. That is what I'm getting, is that we're going to really want to take a look a couple months from now. Put your hand on your heart and breathe it in. Okay, I have probably like 5 more minutes and then I have got to go run on all of my many errands for the day. But do we have any more comments or thoughts? Any updates from anybody who's been really shifting? If you want to send an update. Okay, thank you. Spirit has been telling me to take one step at a time to reach a goal I have set. I didn't really understand what that looked like until today. It's been sabotage the whole time. Ooh, yes, yes, yes. We all just sabotage ourselves so much. Even when people have their lives together, they are still self-sabotaging. It is true. But I feel like getting out of this pattern is one of the most important things that we can do to prepare ourselves for the earth to be improving its own vibrations, right? As the earth is raising in frequency, our own bodies need to match. And so we've got to shift out of our self-sabotage zone. And I feel like it is possible. I feel like, historically, people were not prepared to live without self-sabotage, but the future can live without self-sabotage. The scripture, the Christian scriptures talk about like the 1,000 years of peace, right? But so do the yogic scriptures. The yogis, off in India, have taught about this also for thousands of years, that we would switch into a new age. That's where that term comes from, which people misuse it, and in my opinion, like use it to slam people that do yoga. I don't know, it's so stupid. But anyway, the idea is that the yogis agree there's going to be this 1,000 years of peace. And during that 1,000 years, people are going to be notoriously living without self-sabotage. Like, that's the point. When we all get out of our own way on this huge collective level, that's the only way to have peace, right? That's the only way that you can have a whole society that only has peace. And so in the past, I don't know that it was possible for people to live without self-sabotage, but I do believe it is possible for the future. And hopefully we will all get to see that future. No, you never know. But step one is to heal our own hearts from the self-sabotage that we've got going on in ourselves. So, okay. I think we did a lot of work today. There's a lot more work to do. Okay. We did not solve every problem today. We did not solve world peace today. But we made some good progress, and I hope we all have the pattern for how to take it forward and how to fit it into our lives in tiny increments. That's the thing. If we just get 1% better every day, it adds up over time. It's the magic of compound interest, one of the laws of the universe. Anything that you do every day, it adds up to be way more than the sum of its parts. 1 + 1 is 2, but 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 is not 5, it's 10. You do something every single day and it adds up and snowballs. That's why if you think negative thoughts every day, it adds up and snowballs and turns your life into a disaster. And why you work on your self-sabotage every single day, it snowballs and makes your life freaking amazing. So do a little bit every day. Be a little bit more conscious and a little bit more intentional. You are going to see for yourself in the coming months how this snowballs for you and blesses your life way out of proportion to the work you put into it. You're going to put in a little bit of work every day and see massive shifts. And it's going to be crazy. And I can't wait to hear about it. So for real, put an alarm in your phone to come back and report in the Facebook group, because we're all going to want to hear how it went for you off in February. Okay. So let's check in February for people that are watching live. For people that are not watching live, set an alarm for 2 months from now. And this is going to be so fun. But I just love you guys so much. Let's go clear our self-sabotage. Remember, you can always raise, manually shift those self-sabotage thresholds. So keep doing it. And I hope you have a good day.